Hey, what's going on, guys? So, I have finally gotten access to the Marathon Alpha, and I got to play it a little bit. I think I only got 2 days total to play the Alpha before it was gone. I know they added 2 more days, but honestly, I didn't really feel like playing Marathon much more. It is what it is. I'll get into how I feel about it, but in general, it wasn't as crazy as I thought it was going to be. Marathon is a new extraction shooter set after the events of the original trilogy. You take control of synthetic runners and you loot the surface or wherever you are, whatever map you're on. You loot, kill PvE elements, kill PvP elements, yada yada. Get all your equipment and extract. At this point, we know what an extraction shooter is. That's what Marathon is. It is considered a sequel, but the original trilogy was a single-player campaign kind of experience. So we've got to see how the rest of it plays out later on, but that's pretty much the gist of the game. After playing a little bit of the alpha test, I feel like I have a good grasp on what this game has to offer and how I feel about it as of now. So in general, I really wanted this game to blow my ass off my body, but unfortunately it didn't really do that. It left me wanting more at the end of it. And playing Marathon was like finally getting to scratch an itch I've had for years, but I'm trying to scratch that itch with no fingers and no fingernails. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of, I wouldn't say fell flat, but it definitely wasn't what I expected from how big Bungie was talking and how much I talked them up myself. But hey, it is what it is. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go over the negative things that I had, and then afterwards I'll go over the positives. So for the first point, brother, the matchmaking was dog shit. Like, I hate to start off so brutal and already going off the rails with this shit, but the matchmaking was horrible. Bro, there's no type of solo queuing whatsoever. You can choose to not fill your squad, but that doesn't mean that the game is going to prioritize solo players over groups when you're queuing up like that. 9 times out of 10, honestly 10 times out of 10, you are going to fight 3 stacks every single time. Regardless if they're fill or if they're actually a pre-made or anything like that, you will never be able to fight somebody one-on-one or just go solo. Or you can sneak around and things like that, which was primarily what I did. But even then, if you get caught at any point doing anything, you will be ran down. And once they figure out that you're solo, hey bro, if you've ever played Apex or any other BR or an extraction shooter, you know, once people know they got you, they're coming to get you. That's just kind of basic game knowledge at this point. I feel like that's kind of a overlooked thing by Bungie. How the hell do you not understand, like, gameplay culture and gameplay, what am I trying to say? Like, what you do. It's completely normal to be at an advantage and capitalize on that advantage. But for some reason, Bungie just does not understand that when it comes to matchmaking. Why? Now, I'm not saying there needs to be a dedicated solo mode, but at the very least, prioritize solo players in a solo lobby. Like, come on, bro. It's ridiculous. After matchmaking, I feel like the loot was not as great as it could have been. The whole point of playing an extraction shooter is to get good loot and dip off. But there's not really any defining way to do higher, like more difficult things to get higher loot. You can kind of stay around in a POI and fight an enemy or start a supply drop for the UESC. And the longer you fight them and the more that you let spawn and the higher tier enemies that come out, the higher tier the loot is in the box. But that's pretty much it. There's really no other way to kind of define that there will be high tier loot in an area. They have events on the map. There's things like, I don't know, the USC commander. You can go fight a commander. You can go get a transport. You can go to the consoles and do the console thing where you activate one console, find the correct one, you do the correct one, and it'll spawn in a supply delivery, and then you can fight and fight and fight, and then once you finally kill the last enemy, you can get the box and get high tier loot. That's really the only way to do that, and I feel like that kind of sucks. There was no place on the map that's like, hey, this is a very dangerous area, you shouldn't be here, if you're not equipped for it. Like, most extraction shooters tend to have something that's like, hey, really deep within the map, like in the middle, or at a part that's kind of hard to get to. Like, you're not going to be able to survive there unless you have the equipment to do so. And as you do more extractions and you do more runs, you are able to go deeper and deeper into the map and fight stronger opponents and go for the loot that you want. Marathon doesn't really have that. It's kind of just a map that has random events go on, and then you go and do them, which I feel like as a format is not bad, but Marathon doesn't really execute it well. It's not like I'm against it, and I feel like a lot of people trying to play this game or wanting to play this game feel the same about not really being against the format. At the same time, if that's the format you're gonna use, lean into it. Don't try to continue to be a normal extraction shooter when you know you're doing something different. That leads into like another part of the loot aspect. The vault space to begin with is horrible. Like, I understand not being able to hoard a bunch of stuff and, like, you know, upgrading your vault to where you can hold more things, but you can't even hold multiple loadouts in your vault. Like, I was trying to keep at least one bag, one gun, a little bit of ammo, and like some heals in my vault, but I was not having space for these things because it's taken up by the materials that you get. I got exotic tier materials, legendary materials. I got some of those materials that were upgrade materials, but they just took up so much space in my vault that I couldn't hold multiple weapons. I wanted to use all the different guns. I wanted a different build for each gun. I wanted to use different runners for the different playstyles that I had in mind. I wanted to, you know, I need a SMG. I wanted to use a marksman rifle or a sniper rifle for long distance, having some hand cannons in there. Well, pistols, really, sidearms. And I just couldn't. I couldn't do it because there just wasn't enough space. And when you take a faction reward or something like that, they throw everything they have to give you in your vault, including other weapons and things like an overrun AR that you have a million of. Like, oh my goodness. It was just so weak. I hated it. Also, another aspect of the looting is the fact that when you loot a building or you go into somewhere and you loot these containers, everything feels like it has value, and that's a negative thing. I know that people would be like, oh, well, you're getting things that mean something. You're getting something out of looting things. Shouldn't that be a good thing? Not really. Like, once you get up to a certain point in a game, a lot of the times, I feel like there's too much meaningless loot. Like, I'm getting a bunch of green materials that automatically decode into currency. That's fine. But the ones that are just over and over and over again, oh, valuable, 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 so I can extract with it and auto sell it and things like that, bro, I'm not there for that. I need equipment. I need to find shields. I need body mods. I need runner mods. I need loadout mods, weapon mods, anything. But no, I'm getting valuable, 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 back to back to back. And all of the containers are just chock full of this. There's a lot of times where I'm just looking for a heal. I'm just looking for health heals or shield heals, and I can't find it. But I'm telling you, I can find the green and blue valuables over and over and over again. Like, how many credits do I really need? It only costs like 300 credits or something like that to get a sponsored loadout. And every time you do a run, you're getting, if you extract with just a normal run where you don't get any other special loot, you are going to extract with like 1,500 to 3,000 credits every time. So I don't see the reason to have so much of that everywhere. Like, you could have less loot in the area, you could have less boxes to loot, but there's so many boxes in the environment that are filled with bullshit that is just whack. It's whack as hell. You could go to one POI and your whole bag is full after going through 2 rooms. That shit is weak. I don't like it, bro. Moving on from loot, I feel like I harped on loot a lot. The POIs themselves, man, they felt like they were all the same. So I wrote in my notes right here, I said points of interest felt the same for the most part. When we had seen reveals and talks, it seemed as though the world would be brimming with unique POIs that offer different challenges and puzzles, but they all have the exact same amount of enemies and variety every time. It became very predictable. I understand it's an alpha, so maybe it will be different at launch, but that's how I feel about it. That's pretty much it, bro. Like, everything kind of felt the same. Like, the same kind of enemies in the same amount would come out every time. You would fight the same commander using the same thing, the same heavier units, the same jetpack units. Like, it's redundant, bro. It's ridiculous. And I understand it's an alpha. We're just supposed to be playtesting the environment and feeling the sandbox out, and that's their intention. Well, I believe that's their intention. At the same time, though, if this was supposed to showcase what the game has to offer, it definitely didn't have it. And, man, I'm really hoping that by the time the full game comes out, there's a little bit more going on in the maps. But if that's it, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do the same arena over and over and over again, because the novelty of exploration wears off very fast in Marathon. Like, you go to a POI for the first time, explore the hallways, explore the underground parts and stuff, you realize, oh, there's not really anything special here. There's no hidden secret loot box or hidden mechanic. It's usually all lock container keys or door key card or delivery terminal. That's pretty much it for every POI. It's kind of weak, especially for the ambition and the passion that Bungie said that they put behind this game. I don't know. It doesn't really seem like there's much going on. It feels very lackluster, to say the least. My next point I want to talk about is the maps. I wrote in my notes, I couldn't tell the difference between the two maps I got to play, Perimeter and Dire Marsh. I was disappointed by the double swamp aesthetic, but I understand it's alpha, so we can't see the inner layers in other maps. Now, I'm hoping that Perimeter and Dire Marsh is kind of just like, oh, you started at Perimeter, and now you went to Dire Marsh, and now you're going to tighter part of the colony, and now you're in the big ancient ruins of the colony, and halfway there, you find a terminal that can send you up to the Marathon, or we find a crash part of the Marathon, or something like that. But as of now, like, man, we didn't really get to see much variety. I couldn't really tell the difference between the two maps. I didn't really feel the need to learn POI names because they're all the same. They all have the same things in them, just like I was talking about a second ago with the POIs. It's just very bland. I'm not gonna lie, it's very bland. I feel like that's pretty much it for my negatives. I didn't really have much else to complain about other than the fact that I was so hyped to play this game and then it ended up being kind of boring. So that really sucked. Next, I want to get to the positives, right? My first point is the combat. The gunplay is very solid and it feels like a Bungie title. PvE is very satisfying, with PvP being slightly less so, but still good. Guns had definite differences, and I felt like I had a decent array of options for different playstyles. I really do feel like that was the case. Alright, like, there was a decent amount of guns that felt different. Things felt like I could use certain things in other situations, and I could change my runner based off of what weapons I wanted to use. That being said, though, that was cut very short by the little amount of vault space, which was what I was talking about earlier. Not being able to hold multiple loadouts and multiple playstyles in my vault, which sucked ass. But otherwise, the combat was nice. I liked it. I liked the way it felt. Fighting other runners felt nice. I felt like I could fight back. And there wasn't a lot of times. There was some times where I kind of just got dropped out of nowhere by snipers. But other than that, it was pretty fun. I'd catch runners all the time, and I felt even. I actually felt like an Apex Predator out there, man. No Apex, right? I'm not referencing Apex Legends. I'm just saying, like, I felt like I already knew what I was doing, because, like, I'm used to playing Destiny. Like I've said a million times, I've got like 7,000 hours in Destiny total. I definitely felt like I was at an advantage compared to maybe some newer players or some people who haven't played Destiny PvP in a while. It was nice. PvE was nice. It was decently challenging. They hit you just as hard as other runners do, so it's really easy to sneak into groups of PvE mobs and, like, kill other players like that. At the same time, the PvE might just turn around and gun your ass up too, so it was fun. It was fun to do that, so that's not too bad. The factions. I liked the factions and what they had to offer. Also, getting some story elements from the AI was nice, and it helped to make me slightly more immersed. There's not a lot of immersion that goes on in Marathon, at least in the alpha test, but I felt like the AI were nice. It was a nice little introduction into what the potential of Marathon storytelling could be in the new game, And I feel like if they lean more heavily into that kind of thing, things will play out a lot more, because these AI don't really show that they have ulterior motives on the surface, but you never know. If you know anything about this universe, you know that things could get pretty dicey pretty quickly. And a lot of these factions don't really like each other to begin with. Like, some of them work together, some of them don't. Some of them are against each other, some ideals align, and other ones are just radical terrorist groups. It's interesting to see the comparisons and the contrasts and the things that they have to offer, the things they have to say. The AI felt very unique amongst each other, so that was very nice. The runners. So now the runners, I was a little skeptical about, because everybody was crying. Well, I don't want to say crying, that's kind of disrespectful. I'd say people were very concerned about what it was going to be like to play specific characters that weren't customizable, like blank slate runners. But honestly, I don't feel like it was bad. I liked the characters. Their abilities were unique enough to want to pick one, and all of them felt appealing. They were visually appealing. Gameplay wise, they were appealing. I really liked them. Glitch and Void ended up being my most played runners, but I also liked Blackbird and Locust. Locust is probably like my favorite one aesthetic wise, because he looks like the security guard from the original Marathon, and I like that design. There's always been references to the security guard from Marathon in all of the Bungie games. If you played Halo, you remember the security helmet. If you played Destiny, you know the Bungie event, the Hunter helmet ornament is the Bungie anniversary event. The Hunter helmet is the security guard helmet, so that's cool. It has the Marathon logo on it. Same thing for Halo. It's got the Marathon logo on it, the fucking Durandal logo. So that's cool stuff. I like Locust, but outside of that, nothing too crazy. I don't think it ruins the game at all. I think it's just fine. It feels kind of weird at first, but it's just fine. I mean, we would have had the abilities anyways with a customizable character. Now, mind you, my opinion on that will change greatly if there's no cosmetics for these runners. I don't want microtransactions, because that sucks ass. At the same time, though, if there was some microtransactions, I can't talk, of course. If there was some microtransactions mixed with earnable cosmetics, then I'm cool with that. If there's just earnables, I would be very cool with that. But just microtransactions, I don't think I would like that at all. I'm not going to spend extra money just to look a certain way to get clapped up by somebody else. Like, it's weak. I don't like that. It's like the Deathbox skins for Apex. Like, why would I buy that? I don't want somebody, like, dripping out my Deathbox. Bro, I'm dead. Like, that's, I don't know. It's just weak. That's just loser shit. I don't like it. The weapon mod system. So, the weapon mod system is kind of a negative and a positive for me. The mods did make the guns feel better. I liked that my guns felt more powerful when I had mods, and I liked the potential of what they had, and how the mods also for weapons were kind of like having perks on guns in Destiny. They had catchy flavor text, and you can kind of tell what they do already if you play Destiny, and the weapon descriptions were nice. Like, it was all around good. The negative part of that, though, is not being able to take off a mod and put it on something else. Now, having it completely for free, I understand why you would say you wouldn't want that. I don't see a problem with that, being able to switch mods to other guns, because they're your mods, right? You earned them, you took them out, and you extracted with them, so you should be able to do what you want with those. You own those. But I could understand being able to pay a little bit of currency or something like that to take it off, or like a material to take it off and put it on another gun. Losing it completely, though, that's whack. That's whack as hell. That's just not a good, it's just not good. That's not something I can defend. It's just weak. I wouldn't do it. I don't know why they did it, but it is what it is. You know, hopefully they change that by the time the real game comes out. So for my last point, sound design, visuals, and general world feel. Everything felt solid and like its own environment. Some things that are living kind of lack presence, but the environments themselves are really nice. Now, I talked earlier about the maps being the same and not really being able to tell the difference between them. Yeah. At the same time, though, some of the POIs had really, really good design. The interiors were nice. The lighting was cool. The way you could crawl through the vents inside of buildings and like break open the hatches. It doesn't even look like something that is like apparent. But it's one of those things like, oh, can I break this vent open? Oh, I can, and I can crawl through this building. Like, it's sick. I like it. It gave me some flank routes. It actually came in handy a couple times for some fights. But, you know, overall, I feel like the world is nice. It looks cool and everything. The outside, everybody complained about the outside, and I agree, it's not the greatest, but the inside of buildings and stuff was very nice. I liked it. So, my final verdict: if solo play is not made a priority, the game will not last long. Also, the loot in the final product should feel like it was earned, not just random craziness and clutter. I think Bungie has something good on its hands, but it needs some spice. As of now, I'm making Marathon a 5.5 to a 6 out of 10. Yeah, that's really it, man. I feel like it's a 5.5, maybe a 6.5. No, not 6.5, that's too far. 6 out of 10. Just for the alpha, I understand that there's some immersion that we're missing, some world building that we're missing. It is what it is. Like, right now, it's just not good. Especially after playing Arc Raiders, right? I had to wait for the Marathon Alpha. I waited for days and days, and I just wasn't getting a code. I was still itching to play Marathon. In the meantime, Arc Raiders, Embark gave me a code day 1 of the Alpha for them, or the playtest for them. Did it. It was amazing. Blew my ass apart. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Y'all saw my video about it. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. I had really nothing bad to say about that game at all. And then playing that and then going into Marathon 2 days before the alpha ended, it just kind of, I couldn't find myself continuing to play. Like, I played Arc Raiders for maybe 8 hours straight at one point. One of my game sessions was 8 hours. I got on the Marathon, I wouldn't play more than 1 or 2 matches at a time. I think the most matches I played in a row was 4 or 5. That was it. Couldn't really drive myself to do much more than that, and it kind of just sucks because y'all have seen me, I've been hyping this game up for a little bit, man. I've been looking forward to Marathon in general for a few years now, because like I said, I've wanted to get into extraction shooters, but they're kind of hard to get into because they're just that's just how they work. They're intense. They're supposed to be intense, and they're very competitive, and that's just something I wanted, but needed a format in which it was more easily accessible. I felt like Marathon was going to be like that for me. Honestly, Arc Raiders kind of took the cake when it comes down to that. Now, I'm going to get more into that later in a different video, talking about the comparison between the two, because these are probably going to be the 2 main games that we play for a little while. So getting into this stuff, I want us to be prepared, and I want you guys to know how I feel about things and get a good baseline, so when later on we see things, we can compare it and go over it. So that being said, Marathon wasn't really the intense extraction shooter that I thought it was going to be. It was more like a modern showcase of a reimagining of an old title. It kind of feels like it's something that's like, oh, here you go, this is something to play for a little bit and kind of explore. Nothing that took itself serious enough to be a real competitor amongst the space. Now, that being said, I'm definitely going to play it, of course. It's a Bungie game. Y'all know me, I'm going to play it. At least a little bit. That's not to say that, oh, no, but I'm an absolute Bungie loyalist. Like, man, I've been playing Destiny for 10 years. Almost 11 at this point. I've been playing Halo since I was 4 years old. Bro, I'm going to play this game. I'm going to play it. And that's just how it is. And it's not even like a meat riding kind of thing. I just want to play it. So, you guys let me know how you feel about Marathon, if you guys felt like it's going to be good, if you guys are going to play it at all, or if you think it's just going to die on arrival. Honestly, I don't think that's too far-fetched at this point. My opinion went from very optimistic to kind of just like, well, I mean, I guess we'll play it when we play it. We'll see what happens in the beta, but yeah, please leave a comment. Let me know how you guys feel. Feel free to talk it up. The Discord server is almost done. It's almost made, so you guys can join that very soon. Be checking my channel description for a link very soon. And yeah, I think that's about it, man. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.